Welcome to Monk's Temple. Find a comfortable place to settle in. Perhaps you're preparing for rest, or seeking a moment of quiet in a busy day. Wherever you are, whatever weight you carry, let your attention soften. Let the sounds around you become part of this space. And for now, just breathe. In and out. This is a space for letting go. A space to put down the bags you've been carrying, perhaps for so long you've forgotten they're even on your back. I want you to imagine, not a bag of stones, but a beautiful, intricate vase. It's cradled in your hands. You found it long ago, and you believed it was the source of all water, the holder of all life. You've carried it with you on every path, through every forest and desert, guarding it with your life, fearing that if it cracks, you will perish of thirst. Your knuckles are white from holding it. Your gaze is fixed on its surface, watching for the slightest hairline fracture. You are so focused on carrying the vase, on protecting it, that you have not noticed the vast, clear river flowing gently beside the path you walk. You haven't heard its soothing murmur. The water in the vase is stale now, warm from the heat of your grip, barely enough to wet your lips. But you cling to it, thinking, this is my water. If I let go, I will have nothing. The journey has become a torture of thirst, defined not by the path itself, but by the desperate, exhausting act of carrying. What if I told you that the vase was never the source? It was only a container you picked up along the way. A useful tool once, but now a prison of your own making. The teachings of the Buddha, shared for over 2.5 millennia, speak directly to this. They guide us not to acquire better vases, but to see the river. To open our hands. To let the container, once so precious, fall away. True freedom, the Buddha taught, isn't found in holding on, but in letting go of what binds us. It's in realizing the river was there all along. Your mind, your heart, your true nature, that is the river. Clear, abundant, and inherently free. The habits we'll explore tonight are the vases we clutch. They are not who you are. They are what you carry. And you can put them down. Tonight, we embark on a long, gentle journey together, a journey of release. We will wander through 5 ancient forests of the mind, each overgrown with a particular habit that clouds our inner sky. We will not take them in the order you might expect. Our path will meander. We will start in the forest of attachment. Then, we will find ourselves in the quiet glade of non-judgment. From there, we'll navigate the swirling mists of overthinking. We'll then cleanse ourselves in the river of non-comparison, and finally, we'll learn to stop feeding the wolves of negativity. For each, I will share with you not just the wisdom from the old texts, but stories from my own life, from the lives of others who have walked this path, and parables told in the quiet of the evening at Monk's Temple. Our time together will be deep and spacious. There is no rush. The purpose is not to finish, but to truly arrive. Where you are right now. If this resonance, this possibility of putting down a weight you've carried for years, speaks to you, I invite you to subscribe to Monk's Temple. By joining our community, you plant a seed. You create a sanctuary on your channel where these teachings can return, like a gentle bell, reminding you to breathe, to release, to come home. Your subscription is a quiet promise to your own peace. It tells the algorithm, bring me back here, to this stillness. We would be honored to have you walk this path with us. Let us begin with the first, and perhaps most deeply rooted, habit, attachment. In Buddhism, attachment, or upadana, is identified as a fundamental root of suffering, dukkha. It is the sticky glue of the mind that says, this must stay. This must be mine. This must remain as it is. It is the white-knuckled grip on the vase, convinced it is the only source of water. We attach not only to objects and people but to outcomes, to identities, to feelings, and to the past itself. We believe our safety, our happiness, our very existence depends on these things remaining constant. But the Buddha's central teaching of anicca, impermanence, whispers a different truth: everything flows. Everything changes. The leaf falls, the river shifts its course, the feeling passes, the moment ends. To cling to the changing as if it were permanent is to set yourself up for inevitable suffering. It is to stand in a river and rage against the current, exhausting yourself, rather than learning to float. I will share with you a story from my early days at the temple, a lesson taught not with words, but with a cherry blossom. I was young, and my mind was a storm of wanting. I wanted to understand everything, to achieve a state of perfect calm, to be seen as a good student. There was a particular cherry tree in the courtyard, ancient and magnificent. In spring, it would explode in a cloud of the most delicate pink blossoms. It was breathtaking. I became attached to its beauty. I would sit beneath it for hours, memorizing the pattern of its branches, the exact shade of its flowers. I thought, if I can just hold this beauty in my mind, I will have captured peace. One morning, after a night of soft rain, I went to the tree. The ground beneath it was a carpet of fallen petals. The branches were nearly bare. My heart sank. A feeling of profound loss washed over me. It felt personal, as if the tree had betrayed me by being impermanent. My teacher found me there, staring at the empty branches. He didn't speak. He simply knelt, gathered a handful of the wet, pink petals from the grass, and held them in his open palm. Then, he lifted his hand, and a gentle breeze swept through the courtyard. It took every petal from his hand, scattering them into the air, where they danced for a moment before settling elsewhere. He looked at me. Were the petals less beautiful in my hand, he asked, or when the wind took them? Was the tree only beautiful when full, or is it beautiful now, in its waiting? He placed a hand on the rough, bare bark. You loved the blossom. But the blossom is not the tree. The tree is also the root, the branch, the fallen leaf, the promise of the bud. To love the tree is to love its whole journey, not one moment of it. Your sadness is not for the tree. It is for your idea of the tree. You are clinging to a ghost. That day, I began to understand. Attachment narrows our world. It makes us love the snapshot and hate the film. It makes us mourn the setting sun, refusing to turn and see the rising stars. We do this with everything. We cling to a relationship as it was, unable to see it as it is. We cling to a version of ourselves. A younger self, a successful self, a wounded self, and wage war against the person we are in this moment. We cling to plans, and when life inevitably diverges, we call it failure instead of a new path. Let me tell you an original parable, one we share often here at Monk's Temple. There was a master painter who created a masterpiece of a bird in flight. The painting was so vivid, so alive, that people swore they could see the feathers rustle. The painter, however, became deeply attached to his creation. He feared the colors would fade, the canvas would tear. He built a sealed case for it, with special glass to protect it from light. He would only rarely, and with great anxiety, bring it out to look at it. The painting was safe, but it was also imprisoned. It was no longer a source of joy, but of fear. One day, a young child visiting his studio saw a small, plain sketch of the same bird on a scrap of paper. "I like this one," the child said. "The bird looks free." The painter was puzzled. The sketch was rough, unfinished. "Why?" he asked. The child replied, "Because you weren't afraid to draw it. You just let your hand move." The masterpiece, under glass, was a monument to fear of loss. The simple sketch was an expression of freedom. The painter realized he had attached himself not to the bird, but to the permanence of the bird. In doing so, he had killed the very feeling of flight he sought to capture. This is the irony of attachment. We cling to things, to people, to status, to memories, in hopes of securing happiness. But the act of clinging is what suffocates the happiness we seek. It is the glass case. True appreciation is fearless. It loves fully knowing that nothing lasts. It says, "I love you now," without demanding a forever guarantee. This is non-attachment. It is not cold indifference. It is the opposite. It is a love so vast and secure that it does not need to possess. It is the ability to hold something with open palms, not a clenched fist. How does this manifest in our daily lives? Let's explore 3 forms. First, attachment to outcomes. We tie our peace to a specific result, getting the job, achieving the goal, receiving the apology. We script the movie of our life and then suffer when the actors improvise. Buddhism teaches the wisdom of right effort, not right results. Pour your heart into the action, into the process, but release your grip on the specific outcome. The universe has a broader script. The job you don't get may lead you to a path you never dreamed of. The failure may be the cracking of the seed so the shoot can emerge. Practice by ending your day not with, "What did I achieve?" but with, "How did I live? Where did I put my heart?" Second, attachment to identity. We say, "I am a successful person, I am a victim, I am a thinker." These are costumes we wear, but we mistake them for our skin. When life challenges that identity, when success falters, when wounds heal, when thoughts grow quiet, we feel as if we are disappearing. The Buddha taught anatta, often translated as non-self. This isn't a nihilistic denial of existence. It is a liberation from the prison of a fixed, small self. You are not a noun. You are a verb. You are not a statue, but a river. You are a process, a changing constellation of experiences, thoughts, and sensations. When you loosen the attachment to, "I am this," you find a freedom to be everything and nothing. You are no longer threatened by change, you are the change. Third, attachment to feelings. We cling to joy, desperately trying to make it stay, and in our clinging, we strangle it. We cling to sorrow, weaving it into a story of who we are, and make it a permanent resident. Feelings are weather. They are passing storms and passing sunbeams. To attach to one is like nailing a cloud to the sky. It cannot be done, and the attempt creates only struggle. Practice simply saying, "This is a feeling of sadness. It is here." Or, "This is a feeling of joy. It is here." Don't claim it as your permanent state. Host it. Let it pass through. The sky does not cling to the storm, that is why it clears. Now, let me offer you a practical meditation, a way to begin softening the grip of attachment. Find your comfortable position. Close your eyes if you wish. Bring your awareness to your hands. Feel them resting on your lap or by your sides. Notice the sensation. Now, gently, make a tight fist with both hands. Clench them. Feel the tension in your knuckles, your forearms. This is attachment. It is holding. It is effortful. It is rigid. Notice what it feels like in your body, in your mind. Now, very slowly, begin to release. Finger by finger, let your hands soften. Let them fall open, palms up, receptive. This is release. This is non-attachment. It is openness. It is trust. Feel the difference in your body. The relaxation, the space. Imagine your mind doing the same. Imagine opening the palm of your mind and letting one thought, one worry, one thing you've been clinging to, simply rest there. You are not throwing it away. You are just holding it without clutching. Breathe into that openness. This small practice, done throughout your day, can be a profound reorientation. We will spend much more time here, in this forest, for its roots are deep. But remember this, every act of letting go is an act of trust. Trust that the river is real. Trust that you are the river. You do not need the vase. You never did. Let me share another story, from a dear friend who was a potter. She spent months perfecting a clay jar. It was her magnum opus. Perfect symmetry, a glorious glaze she had invented, fired in the kiln at precisely the right temperature. When she brought it out, it was more beautiful than she had imagined. She placed it on a high shelf in her studio, a shrine to her skill. She stopped creating new pots. She was too afraid that nothing would ever match this one. Her studio grew dusty. Her joy in clay faded, replaced by the dull anxiety of guarding her masterpiece. One evening, an earthquake shook the town. It was mild, but it was enough. The pot swayed on its shelf, teetered, and fell. It shattered into 100 pieces on the stone floor. My friend was devastated. She wept over the shards for days. She felt her creativity, her identity as a potter, had shattered with it. Finally, exhausted, she began to sweep up the pieces. As she did, her eye caught the raw, unglazed interior of a large fragment. The clay had a beautiful, earthy texture she had never seen before, hidden beneath the perfect glaze. In that moment, something broke open in her, too. Not a breaking of despair, but a breaking of a shell. The next day, she went to her wheel. She didn't try to recreate the old jar. She took fresh clay and began to center it. Her hands remembered the motion. She made a simple, humble bowl. And then another. She began to experiment with the raw clay, celebrating its natural texture. Her studio came alive again, filled with new, imperfect, living pieces. She told me, the masterpiece had to break for me to remember why I loved the clay in the first place. I was worshipping the product and had forgotten the process. The breaking was the most important firing of all. Attachment had frozen her in a single, perfect moment. Loss, the very thing she feared, returned her to the flow of life, to the joy of creating without guarantee. The Buddha's teachings remind us that everything is in a state of becoming and ceasing. The end of one thing is the condition for the beginning of another. The shattered pot made space for the humble bowl. The fallen blossom makes way for the leaf, and then the bare branch, and then the new bud. We must ask ourselves, what masterpiece am I guarding on a high shelf in my mind? What relationship, what version of my life, what idea of myself, have I placed under glass, fearing its loss so much that I have stopped living in the room with it? Can I find the courage to take it down, to hold it in my open hands, and to say, I love you, and you are not permanent? Can I trust that if it breaks, or changes, or fades, something new, perhaps something more real, will have space to emerge? This is the practice. It is a daily, gentle letting go. It is watering the roots of the tree, not just praising the blossom. It is loving the river's flow, not trying to bottle a single wave. We will return to these themes, but for now, let your awareness drift from the forest of clinging. Let the image of the open palm stay with you. As we gently turn our path, we find ourselves entering a quieter, but equally pervasive, space, the glade of judgment. Judgment is the mind's constant commentary. It is the invisible filter through which we see the world, others, and most harshly, ourselves. In the framework of Buddhist psychology, judgment is closely tied to the concept of ditthi, or wrong view. It is seeing things not as they are, but as we are. Our fears, our insecurities, our unhealed wounds, our conditioning, these paint the lens. We then believe the tinted world we see is reality itself. The Buddha taught that this habit of categorizing, condemning, and comparing creates a wall between us and direct experience. It separates us from others, from the moment, and from our own hearts. Imagine your mind is a beautiful, clear window. Through it, you can see the garden outside in its full, vivid truth. Now imagine that over the years, without you even realizing it, a fine, sticky dust has settled on the glass. It's not one dramatic smear, but a cumulative film of old opinions, past hurts, societal messages, and self-critical thoughts. You look out at the world, at people, and you think, the garden is dull. That person's colors are off. The light is harsh. You critique the view, never realizing the dust is on your side of the glass. Judgment is that dust. It distorts everything. And the harshest judgments, the ones that call the rose ugly for being pink and not red, are often about the specks of dust that most resemble our own unseen blemishes. I learned this not from a grand lesson, but from a cup of tea that was too hot. Many years ago, before my path led me here, I was waiting in a long, slow line at a small cafe. I was tired, impatient, and behind schedule. The person at the counter, a young man, seemed distracted, slow, and slightly awkward. My mind began its commentary, he's incompetent. He doesn't care. He's making everyone wait. Why can't he be more efficient? The judgment felt solid, true. It fueled my irritation. Finally, it was my turn. I ordered abruptly. As he turned to get the tea, his sleeve caught on the handle of the milk pitcher, sending it clattering to the floor. Milk splashed everywhere. He flushed deep red, stammered an apology, and bent to clean it, his hands visibly shaking. In that moment, my judgment cracked. I saw not an incompetent person, but a flustered, deeply embarrassed human being, probably new to the job, trying his best under the pressure of impatient eyes like mine. I felt a pang of shame. My judgment had added weight to his burden. I helped him pick up the pitcher. "It's okay," I said, and I meant it. "It happens." The relief on his face was immediate. When he handed me my tea, our eyes met, and there was a moment of simple, dust-free human connection. No roles, no stories. Just two people. As I walked away, the tea was still slower than I wanted. But my mind was quieter. I realized my earlier judgment said nothing about him and everything about me, about my impatience, my stress, my own fear of being judged for being late or inefficient. The dust on my window had painted him as the problem. Wiping just a little of it away allowed me to see a fellow traveler, having a hard moment. This is the secret of judgment, it is a confession. When we judge another as lazy, we often confess our own fear of being perceived as lazy. When we judge someone as arrogant, we may confess our own struggle with insecurity or pride. The judgment points a finger outward, but three fingers point back at ourselves. Buddhism encourages upekkha, equanimity, and metta, loving kindness. These are not passive states. They are active clearings of the window. They are the choice to see the person, not the story. The action, not the character assassination. Let me offer you an original tale from the lore of Monk's Temple. There was a village built on the side of a luminous mountain. The mountain was known for its unique, crystal-clear quartz. The villagers built their houses with windows made of this quartz, so their view of the valley below was breathtakingly pure. However, a strange phenomenon occurred. The quartz, over time, would subtly absorb the dominant emotion of the household. In a house filled with anger, the quartz would take on a faint, smoky red tint. In a house of grief, a pale blue haze. In a house of anxiety, a muddy, swirling yellow. The families, looking out their windows day after day, grew so accustomed to the tint that they believed it was the true color of the world. They would argue with neighbors about the color of the sky or the grass, each convinced their view was correct. One year, a great storm washed down the mountain, carrying a special fine silt. This silt, when rubbed on the quartz with a soft cloth, had the power to restore its clarity. A traveler brought this silt to the village. Most villagers scoffed. "Why would we change our windows? This is how the world is," they said, pointing to their red or blue or yellow views. But a curious child took some silt and polished a small corner of her bedroom window. Peering through the clear spot, she gasped. She saw colors she had never seen before, vibrant greens, a sky of incredible depth. She ran to tell the others, but they dismissed her, saying the clear spot was the illusion. Judgment is that tinted quartz. Our emotional history, our conditioning, our momentary mood, colors our perception. We then argue for our tinted reality as if it is absolute truth. The practice of non-judgment is the gentle silt of mindful awareness. It is the willingness to stop, to rub a small clear spot, and to look again. To ask, is this the world, or is this my window? How do we gather this silt? How do we begin to clean the glass? First, we must catch the judge in action. It speaks in absolute language, he always. She never. That is terrible. I am such a. Begin to notice these phrases in your inner dialogue. Don't judge yourself for judging, that's just more dust. Simply note, judging is happening. This is the first polish. Second, practice the, and what else, game. When you have a strong judgment about someone, pause and ask, this is my story about them. What else might be true? Could that curt colleague be worried about a sick child? Could that person who cut you off in traffic be rushing to an emergency, or simply be unaware, lost in their own struggle? This isn't about making excuses for poor behavior, but about breaking the monopoly of your first, often unkind, story. It opens a crack of possibility, a sliver of clear quartz. Third, and most importantly, turn the polish on the window you look through most often, the one reflecting yourself. Self-judgment is the thickest, stickiest dust of all. I'm not good enough. I'm a failure. I'm unlovable. These are not truths. They are tints absorbed from old pains, from comparisons, from critical voices internalized long ago. To clean this, we practice matri, or fierce self-friendship. When the harsh inner critic speaks, respond as you would to a dear friend who was speaking to themselves that way. You wouldn't say, yes, you're right, you are a failure. You might say, you're really hurting right now. This is hard. I'm here. Treat your own heart with the kindness you'd offer that flustered barista. This is the most revolutionary polish of all. Let me share a longer, personal story about the dissolution of a judgment that changed my life. Early in my training, there was an older monk. Let's call him Brother Tranquil. To my young eyes, he was infuriating. He moved with an agonizing slowness. While the rest of us bustled through chores, he would take 20 minutes to mindfully sweep a single corridor. During discussions, he would sit in long, ponderous silences before offering a few simple words, when I was bursting with complex insights. I judged him as lazy, slow-witted, perhaps even hiding a lack of depth behind his silence. My window regarding him was tinted a dark, impatient gray. My breaking point came during a week of silent meditation. We were to spend hours each day in stillness. I was determined to be the best at stillness. I sat ramrod straight, fighting every itch, every ache, every wandering thought. It was a torture of willpower. I glanced at Brother Tranquil. He sat with a slight, easy slump. His face was soft. He didn't seem to be fighting anything, he just was. My judgment flared, he's not even trying. He's just napping with his eyes open. One afternoon, a ferocious thunderstorm rolled over the temple. The meditation hall grew dark, and the rain hammered on the roof like 1,000 drums. A flash of lightning, immediately followed by a colossal crack of thunder, shook the very foundations. I jumped, my heart racing, my perfect stillness shattered. Involuntarily, my eyes flew open and darted around the room. Most others had also flinched, stirred, opened their eyes. Except for Brother Tranquil. In the strobe light of the lightning, I saw him. He hadn't moved. His soft expression hadn't changed. He wasn't rigid with resistance. He was so completely at one with the moment that the thunder was just another sound, the flash just another light. He had absorbed the storm into his stillness. In that moment, my judgment of him didn't just crack, it vaporized. The gray tint vanished. I saw him clearly for the first time. He wasn't slow, he was utterly present. He wasn't simple, his silence was the depth of a still ocean. He wasn't avoiding effort, he had transcended the need for the effort of fighting reality. He was the embodiment of what I was straining to achieve. My judgment had been a projection of my own striving, my own insecurity, my own inability to just be. I had been looking at a master and seeing a fool, because my own window was clouded with ambition. After the retreat, I went to him, humbled. I bowed and simply said, "Thank you." He smiled his slow, gentle smile and said, "The storm teaches us, yes." That was all. No lesson, no reprimand. Just an acknowledgement. From that day, my relationship with him, and with my own practice, transformed. He became my quietest, most profound teacher. All because a bolt of lightning finally cleaned my window. This is the power of releasing judgment. It doesn't mean you become a doormat or see no wrong. Discernment remains. You can see that an action is unskillful, that a situation is harmful. But you see it clearly, without the added layer of a condemning story about the person's soul. You see the action as a cloud in their sky, not the sky itself. This clarity allows for compassionate action, if needed, instead of reactive blame. We will continue to explore this, but for now, feel the spaciousness that comes when the commentary softens. It is like turning off a constant, critical radio station that you didn't realize was playing. The silence that follows is not empty, it is full of the actual world, in its raw, unfiltered suchness. As we sit in this quiet glade, we might notice that the silence allows other sounds to emerge. And sometimes, the loudest sound is the one inside our own heads. This leads us to our next destination, a misty and familiar landscape, the swamp of overthinking. The Buddha described the untrained mind as being like a monkey, swinging endlessly from branch to branch of thought, restless, distracted, never at peace. This monkey mind finds its most potent expression in overthinking. The endless analysis, rumination, and rehearsal of scenarios that may never happen. In Buddhist psychology, this is linked to papanka, or mental proliferation. A simple sensation or event hits the mind, and instead of experiencing it directly, we spin a vast, elaborate web of concepts, stories, evaluations, and anxieties around it. We get lost in the web, mistaking the sticky threads for reality. The competitor spoke of the second arrow. This is a powerful and ancient teaching. The first arrow is the unavoidable pain of life, the loss, the rejection, the physical ailment, the disappointment. The second arrow is the one we shoot into ourselves with our thoughts about the first arrow. Why did this happen to me? What does this mean about my future? This is unbearable. It's all my fault. The first arrow causes pain. The second arrow, the overthinking, creates suffering. It amplifies, extends, and deepens the wound. Most of our agony comes from the second arrow, the one we have the power to not shoot. But let me offer you a different metaphor, one from the mists around Monk's temple. Imagine your mind is a clear, still pond. A leaf falls from a tree, plip, creating a single ripple that expands gracefully to the shore and then fades. This is a direct experience. A thought, a feeling, an event. It arises, is known, and passes away. Now imagine instead that the moment the leaf hits the water, you panic. You grab a stick and begin frantically stirring the water where the leaf fell. You churn it and churn it, trying to make the leaf go away, to understand why it fell, to prevent the next leaf from falling. The pond becomes a turbid, muddy swamp. You can't see the bottom. You can't see the sky's reflection. You are exhausted from stirring, and the leaf is still there, now obscured by the muck you've created. Overthinking is that frantic stirring. The direct experience is the leaf. Our compulsive mental activity is the stick that turns the clear pond into a swamp where we feel stuck. I lived in this swamp for many years. My particular flavor of overthinking was catastrophic forecasting. Any uncertain situation, a strange look from a friend, a minor physical sensation, an upcoming meeting, would trigger a mental machine that would produce a full-length feature film of disaster. I would rehearse conversations that never happened, diagnose illnesses I didn't have, and solve problems that weren't real. It was a life lived in a terrifying future that existed only in my head. The turning point came during a simple walking meditation. The instruction was absurdly simple: walk. Feel the foot. Lift. Move. Place. Feel the foot. My mind, of course, was a hurricane. As I tried to feel my right foot lifting, my mind was shouting, "You're doing it wrong. What if you never get this? What's the point of this anyway? Remember that embarrassing thing you did 5 years ago?" I was stirring the pond with a vengeance. The teacher, noticing my strained face, came beside me. In a very calm voice, he said, "Stop trying to feel the whole foot. It's too big. Too much territory for the monkey to swing in. Find the big toe. Just the big toe on the right foot. Can you feel the big toe inside your sock? The pressure of the cloth? The space around it?" I narrowed my frantic attention from the entire swirling mess of my body and mind to one single, quiet point, the big toe. For a split second, the storm stopped. I felt the soft cotton. The slight weight. That was all. In that tiny anchor, there was peace. No story. Just sensation. He whispered, "When the monkey swings, give it a single, small branch. Not the whole forest." For me, the big toe was that branch. Overthinking needs a vast, abstract, temporal landscape. The past, the future, the world of what if. Presence is found in the specific, the sensory, the now. The big toe. The next breath. The sound of a bird right now. This is the antidote. Let me weave for you an original parable. There was a master mapmaker, renowned for his accurate charts of the known world. Kings relied on him for navigation. But he had a secret fear, the blank spaces on the edges of his maps, the terra incognita. He began to obsess over what might be there. Sea serpents. Bottomless whirlpools. Lands of giants. He stayed up night after night, drawing and redrawing possible horrors in the margins. He became so consumed with the fearsome possibilities of the unknown that he grew afraid to leave his study. His actual, beautifully detailed maps of the known world gathered dust, unused. He stopped charting the real coastlines and rivers he could see, because he was too busy imagining monsters in the empty spaces. One day, a young explorer came to him, seeking a map for a voyage. The mapmaker, pale and trembling, unrolled a chart. It was now more conjecture than cartography, filled with terrifying, inked-in beasts in every blank spot. The explorer studied it and laughed. "Master," he said, "you have drawn your fears, not the world. The blank space is not a monster. It is just space. It is an invitation. He took a clean piece of parchment and drew a single, confident line representing the shore from which he would depart. The rest, he left blank. I will fill it with what I find, not with what I fear, he said. The mapmaker's overthinking was his attempt to fill the blank spaces of life with fearful stories, to have an answer, a chart, for everything. It paralyzed him. The explorer's wisdom was to accept the blank space as part of the journey. To move forward with the clarity of the known shore, and to meet the unknown as it came, not as he imagined it. Our minds are mapmakers. Overthinking is the scribbling of monsters in the blank spaces of tomorrow, next week, or 10 years from now. The practice is to return to the known shore, this breath, this step, this moment's simple truth. The blank space will reveal itself in time, and it is rarely as monstrous as our scribbles. So, how do we step out of the swamp and let the pond clear? First, anchoring in the body. The mind can travel in time. The body is always here, now. When you notice the stirring beginning, drop your awareness out of your head and into a physical anchor. The big toe. The feeling of your seat on the chair. The palms of your hands touching. Feel the solidity, the weight, the temperature. The body is your tether to the present. It's your known shore. Second, the worry appointment. This is a powerful, contained way to respect your mind's need to process without letting it hijack your day. Set a timer for 15 minutes. In that time, let yourself think about the worry. Write it down. Analyze it. Catastrophize even. But when the timer goes off, you close the notebook. You consciously let it go. You tell your mind, we had our meeting. We'll reconvene tomorrow at the same time if needed. This trains the mind that there is a time and place, rather than allowing it to be a 24/7 committee meeting in your head. Third, from what if to what is. Overthinking thrives on hypotheticals. Break its spell by asking concrete, present-moment questions. Instead of, what if I fail, ask, what is one small, actionable step I can take right now toward my goal? Instead of, what if they don't like me, ask, what is a kind thing I can do in this interaction right now? This shifts you from powerless speculation to empowered, present-moment action. I will share another story, this time about a friend trapped in the swamp of a decision. She was offered a promising job in another city. It was a classic crossroad. Her overthinking machinery went into overdrive. She made endless pros and cons lists. She imagined every possible future, thriving in the new role, failing miserably, being lonely, missing her family, regretting staying, regretting going. She asked everyone for advice, which only added more variables to her mental equation. For months, she was paralyzed, exhausted, and miserable. The swamp was so thick she couldn't see the choice itself anymore. Finally, desperate, she did something radical. She put away all the lists. She sat quietly and asked herself not, what is the right decision, but, what decision can I make peace with? She imagined herself having chosen to stay. Could she make peace with that path, with its known comforts and potential stagnations? She imagined herself having chosen to go. Could she make peace with that path, with its risks and potential rewards? She realized that with either choice, she could find a way to build a meaningful life. The paralysis wasn't about the choices, it was about her demand for a guaranteed perfect outcome. She was trying to solve for a future that didn't exist yet. She chose to go. Not because it was objectively right, but because in that moment, it felt like the path of growth. She made peace with the uncertainty. The overthinking didn't magically stop, but its power was broken. She had learned the crucial lesson: we can never think our way to a guaranteed future. We can only choose a direction and bring our presence to the steps along the way. The clarity came not from more thinking, but from a shift in the quality of thinking, from forecasting to acceptance. As we learn to be with the leaf as it falls, without stirring the water, the pond of the mind begins to clear. We see our own reflection again. And in that reflection, we might notice the subtle habit of measuring, of comparing that reflection to others. This leads us to our next stop, the river of comparison. Comparison is the mind's measuring tape. It is the habit of assessing our worth, our progress, and our happiness not by our own internal compass, but by an external yardstick held up by someone else's life. In the Buddha's teachings, this is intimately linked to mana, or conceit, which includes the inferiority conceit, I am worse than, the superiority conceit, I am better than, and the equality conceit, I am the same as. All three keep us trapped in a relational view of self. Our identity becomes a fluctuating variable dependent on others. The Buddha's path points inward, to samadhi or right view, which includes seeing ourselves and our journey clearly, without the distortion of comparison. True contentment, santuthi, is praised as one of the highest blessings, being at ease with what one has, as one is. Imagine you are a unique tree in a vast forest. You have your own roots drawing from specific soil, your own branches reaching for light in a particular pattern, your own pace of growth, your own season for shedding leaves and bearing fruit. Now imagine you spend your days leaning to the side, straining to see the tree next to you. Its leaves are broader, you think with envy. My trunk is not as straight as that one, you think with shame. At least my fruit is bigger than that scrawny sapling's, you think with pride. In this constant leaning and measuring, you are not standing in your own truth. You are distorting your growth, wasting energy on a posture that is not your own. You may even miss the sun shining directly on your own crown because you are too busy looking at your neighbor's branches. Comparison forces us to live in a distorted, leaning posture. The practice of non-comparison is simply standing upright in your own ground, feeling your own roots, trusting your own season. My own lesson in this came not from a place of lack, but from a place of perceived advantage. In my youth, I was a dedicated student of a certain musical instrument. I practiced relentlessly and developed considerable skill. I took pride in being better than others in my cohort. This superiority was a core part of my identity. Then, I attended a national gathering of musicians. I heard players whose technique, expression, and artistry were on a level I hadn't known existed. My pride, my measuring stick, shattered. I didn't feel inspired, I felt obliterated. My identity as the good one was gone. I swung from the superiority conceit to the inferiority conceit in one painful afternoon. I wanted to quit. I thought, if I can't be the best, or at least among the best, what's the point? For weeks, I didn't touch the instrument. The joy was gone, replaced by a bitter taste of inadequacy. My teacher, an old man with kind eyes, finally asked me what was wrong. I spilled out my despair. He listened and then said, "You have been making music for the audience. First, the small audience of your peers, whose praise you measured yourself by. Now, the imagined audience of these masters, whose skill you measure yourself against. You have forgotten the first audience. The only one that matters. Who is that?" I asked, confused. "The music itself," he said softly. "Play for the note. Play for the vibration of the string. Play for the resonance in the wood. Be in conversation with the instrument, not in competition with a ghost. A single, clean note, played with full attention, contains the entire universe. A flashy piece played for applause contains only emptiness." That day, I picked up the instrument not to be better than anyone, but simply to hear a single note. I listened to it fade into silence. I played another. I wasn't thinking about technique or expression. I was just listening. And slowly, like a plant turning toward the sun again, the joy returned. It was a different joy, quieter, deeper, unshakable. It didn't depend on being better or worse. It depended only on being present to the act itself. I had stopped leaning toward other trees and had finally felt my own roots. Let me tell you a story from the annals of Monk's Temple, about two springs. High in the mountains were two springs that fed the valley below. One spring emerged from the rock with great force, a gushing, noisy, spectacular fountain. Travelers would stop and marvel at its power. The other spring was shy, seeping quietly from beneath a mossy stone, forming a small, crystal-clear pool before trickling away. The gushing spring was proud. It looked down the slope at the quiet pool and thought, "Look at my strength. My water reaches the valley first. I am clearly the more important spring." The quiet spring heard this but didn't respond. It simply continued to seep, to fill its pool, to offer cool water to the birds and insects that lived near it. A great drought came. The rain stopped. The sun beat down. The gushing spring, dependent on sudden runoff and shallow sources, began to diminish. Its roar became a gurgle, then a trickle, then it fell silent, its rocky mouth dry. The quiet spring, however, flowed from a deep, ancient aquifer. Its output didn't change. It continued to seep, to fill its pool, to sustain the small life around it. When the travelers, now desperate for water, came to the spectacular spring, they found dust. But a local shepherd led them to the quiet, mossy pool, where they all drank their fill. The gushing spring had compared itself based on the showy metric of immediate, impressive output. The quiet spring simply was itself, connected to a deep, reliable source. When conditions changed, the metric of comparison became irrelevant. The true measure was depth, not noise. We do this constantly. We compare our output, our social media likes, our salary, our visible achievements, our relationship status, to others' highlight reels. We judge our behind-the-scenes struggle against someone else's final cut. This is a losing game, because the metrics are illusions, and the sources are hidden. The quiet spring's depth is invisible. A person's inner peace, their private struggles, their true sources of joy or pain, are not visible in the curated gush of their public life. How do we stop leaning and start standing in our own truth? First, Practice source awareness. When you feel the pang of comparison, be it envy or pride, ask yourself, what is the source of my worth? Am I looking to external validation, likes, titles, possessions, or to internal qualities, kindness, effort, integrity, presence? Consciously redirect your attention to your own deep aquifer. What are you nurturing that is independent of others' views? Your compassion, your curiosity, your commitment to growth. Feed that. Second, celebrate different, not better. When you see someone excelling, instead of the thought, they're better than me, practice the thought, they are excellent at that. I am on my own path, with my own excellences. Appreciate their flower without lamenting that you are a tree. Admiration without self-diminishment is a skill that sets you free. Third, conduct a social media audit with compassion. Notice which accounts make you feel lean and insufficient. You don't necessarily have to unfollow in anger. Sometimes, you can simply mute them for a month. Notice the change in your mental posture. Fill your feed instead with accounts that inspire your own unique growth, that teach skills, that share wisdom, not just showcase polished results. I will share a longer, heartfelt story about a woman in our community, let's call her Elena. Elena came to a retreat consumed by comparison. She was a talented artist, but she felt like a failure because her friends from art school were having gallery shows, winning grants, and growing large online followings. She was teaching art to children part-time and selling the occasional piece online. She loved her work with the children, but she saw it as a sign she hadn't made it. Her comparison had stolen the joy from her teaching and from her own studio time, which now felt like a fruitless struggle against obscurity. During a walking meditation, the guide invited us to find a natural object that called to us and to spend time with it, drawing it in detail. Elena found a pine cone. Not a grand, perfect one, but a small, slightly lopsided one, half open, with a few seeds already gone. As she drew it, she was forced to pay exquisite attention. She saw the intricate, fractal pattern of each scale, the beautiful weathering on the tips, the way it had broken symmetrically. She spent an hour with this one, imperfect, pine cone. Afterward, during sharing, she said, tears in her eyes, I spent an hour with this pine cone, and I saw more beauty in its specific, imperfect reality than I have seen in any masterpiece in a museum lately. I've been trying to paint grand, important paintings like the artists I admire. But maybe my path isn't to paint the grand forest. Maybe it's to see the unique beauty of the single, lopsided pine cone. And to share that way of seeing with my students. She realized her failure in the commercial art world was irrelevant to her true calling, which was a deep, attentive connection to the small, beautiful specifics of life, and guiding others to that connection. Her teaching wasn't a fallback, it was the heart of her art. She stopped comparing her path to the gallery path. She began a series of exquisite, detailed paintings of ordinary, natural objects, and her teaching became infused with this mindful seeing. She found a deep contentment she had never known. She had stopped looking at other trees and had fallen in love with her own pine cone. Comparison makes us generic. It pushes us to want the same leaves, the same fruit, the same height as others. Non-comparison allows our unique, eccentric, beautiful shape to emerge. Your path is yours alone. Its value cannot be measured on anyone else's ruler. As we learn to stand in our own ground, we naturally begin to notice the quality of the soil we're standing in. Is it fertile with gratitude, or poisoned by constant complaint? This brings us to our final, and deeply transformative, habit to quit, the feeding of negativity. The Buddha's teaching on sankhara, or mental formations, tells us that we habitually reinforce certain patterns of mind. Every time we engage in a thought, a speech act, or a deed, we water a seed in our consciousness, making it more likely to grow. Negativity and complaining are two of the most potent fertilizers for the seeds of suffering, dukkha. They are not merely reactions to difficulty, they are active choices to dwell in and amplify difficulty. The Buddha taught samavaka, or right speech, which includes speech that is truthful, kind, helpful, and timely. Complaining rarely meets these criteria. It is often an exaggeration, it is unkind to ourselves and others, it is rarely helpful in solving a problem, and its timing is constant. Negativity narrows our world to a pinprick of what's wrong, blinding us to the vast field of what is right, neutral, or simply is. The competitor used the metaphor of salt in a glass versus a lake. Let me offer you another, from an old teaching story I love. An elder is teaching a child about life. Inside me, says the elder, inside all of us, are two wolves. They are in a constant battle. One wolf is negativity, anger, envy, regret, greed, arrogance, self-pity, resentment, inferiority, false pride. The other wolf is positivity, joy, peace, love, hope, serenity, humility, kindness, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, faith. The child thinks for a moment and asks, which wolf wins? The elder replies quietly, the one you feed. Every complaint is a scrap of meat tossed to the wolf of negativity. Every moment of gratitude is a tender stroke for the wolf of positivity. We are the caretakers of this inner ecosystem. We cannot prevent the wolves from existing, they are part of the human condition. But we have absolute sovereignty over which one we strengthen through our attention and our words. I learned this not in a temple, but in a grocery store line during a very difficult period in my life. Everything felt hard. My mind was a curated museum of grievances. I was standing in a long, slow line, and of course, my mind began its litany, this is taking forever. Why is that person writing a check? Don't they know how to use a card? My back hurts. This store is too cold. I was feeding the wolf with gusto. Then, I noticed the elderly man in front of me. He was moving slowly, carefully placing his few items on the conveyor. The young cashier, who looked bored and tired, scanned them. When she told him the total, he fumbled in his pocket and pulled out a handful of coins. He began to count them out, one by one. Clink. 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 My negativity wolf salivated. Great. Now we'll be here all day. He's holding everyone up. But then, I really looked at him. His hands were worn, his clothes simple and clean. He was concentrating deeply on the count. The cashier watched, and I saw her expression soften from impatience to something else. When he finished, he was a few cents short. He looked embarrassed, started to pat his pockets again. Before he could say anything, the cashier smiled, a real, warm smile. "It's okay, sir," she said. "We're good. You have a great day." She reached into her own apron and put the few cents into the drawer. The old man's face lit up with relief and gratitude. "Bless you, young lady," he said, his voice rough. "Bless you." In that moment, the negativity wolf in me whimpered and lay down. The positivity wolf stood up, awakened by a simple act of human kindness I had almost missed because I was so busy feeding complaints. That cashier, in her own tiredness, chose to feed the wolf of generosity. She transformed the entire energy of that line. My impatience vanished, replaced by a swell of warmth. I left the store not with my grievances, but with that image in my heart. It was a masterclass in choice. In every moment, we are choosing which wolf to feed. Let me share with you a parable from the monk's temple tradition, about a gardener and two plots of land. A gardener inherited a piece of land split into two adjacent plots. Both had the same soil, the same sun, the same access to water. The gardener, however, tended them completely differently. In the first plot, he planted seeds of flowers and vegetables. He watered them, weeded them, sang to them, and protected them from pests. This plot became a lush, vibrant, productive garden, full of color and life. In the second plot, he did nothing intentionally, but his habits affected it. He would go there to dump his household trash. He would mutter his worries and frustrations while standing in it. He would neglect it, allowing weeds to take root. This plot became a barren, trash-strewn, weed-choked eyesore. One day, a visitor asked, "Why is this plot so beautiful and that one so desolate? Did the land come this way?" The gardener shook his head. "No. The land was the same. I simply chose what to plant, and what to allow to grow, in each. Our mind is that land. Every thought is a seed. Complaining, ruminating on slights, anticipating trouble, these are the weeds and the trash. Gratitude, appreciation, kindness, hope, these are the flowers and nourishing plants. We are the gardener of every moment. Negativity is not something that happens to us, it is something we do. We cultivate it with our attention. So, how do we become master gardeners of our inner landscape? First, implement a no complaints diet. This isn't about suppressing valid feelings. It's about distinguishing between venting, which often reinforces negativity, and problem solving. For one day, commit to not voicing a single complaint. If you have a problem, either take a small action to address it, or consciously let it go. If you slip, simply begin again. This builds immense awareness of just how often we feed the wolf of negativity through speech. Second, the but reframe. Our minds love to state a problem. I'm so tired from work. That's a seed for the barren plot. Train yourself to add a but that plants a seed in the garden. I'm so tired from work, but I am grateful to have a job that engages me. This traffic is frustrating, but it gives me time to listen to an audiobook I enjoy. This isn't Pollyanna-ish denial. It's cognitive sovereignty. It's remembering the whole picture. Third, practice absorption in the task. Negativity often flourishes in idle or resistant mind states. Immerse yourself fully in a simple physical task: washing dishes, folding laundry, pulling weeds in an actual garden. Pour your entire attention into the sensations, the movements. This complete absorption leaves no room for the weeds of complaint to sprout. It is a direct feeding of the wolf of presence. I will tell you a story about a man in our community who transformed his life by quitting complaint. He worked in a notoriously negative office environment. Gossip, blame, and cynicism were the currency of conversation. He found himself being sucked into it, coming home drained and spreading the negativity to his family. He decided to run an experiment. For 1 week, he would not participate in any negative gossip or complaint at work. He would not initiate it, and if others started, he would either listen silently without adding fuel, or gently change the subject to something neutral or positive. The first few days were incredibly difficult. He felt isolated. The negativity around him felt louder. But he persisted. He used his lunch break to take a walk alone, listening to nature or uplifting podcasts. He started his day writing 3 things he was grateful for about his job, even if it was just, "The coffee is free," or "My chair is comfortable." By the end of the week, something shifted. He noticed he had more energy. The drama of the office began to feel like a TV show he wasn't watching anymore, present, but not affecting him. More interestingly, 1 or 2 colleagues, noticing his calm, began to seek him out for actual, solution-focused conversations. A small oasis of positivity began to form around his desk. He wasn't preaching, he was just not feeding the wolf. His home life improved dramatically because he wasn't bringing the poison scraps home. He realized he had believed he was a victim of the office culture, but he had been an active participant in creating it through his own complaints. By ceasing his participation, he changed his entire experience and became a silent, powerful influence for change. Negativity is contagious, but so is peace. When you stop complaining, you become a carrier of a different virus, one of calm and clarity. You stop fertilizing the weeds in your own mind, and you stop spreading those seeds to others. As we come to the end of our long journey through these 5 forests, glades, swamps, rivers, and gardens of the mind, let us take a final, deep breath together. We have explored the tight fist of attachment, the dusty window of judgment, the churned swamp of overthinking, the leaning posture of comparison, and the barren plot of negativity. Each of these, the Buddha's wisdom tells us, is a samyojana, a fetter that binds us to suffering. And each one, through mindful awareness and gentle effort, can be loosened. The journey of letting go is not a one-time event. It is the path itself. It is the continuous, loving act of returning to the present, of opening the hand, of cleaning the window, of letting the pond settle, of standing upright, of planting a better seed. These habits we've carried are not enemies to be vanquished, but old, tired friends to be thanked and released. They served a purpose once, perhaps to protect you, to motivate you, to make sense of a confusing world. But now, they are bags of stones on your back, vases in your hands, dust on your windows. I want to leave you with one final, original story, a favorite here at Monk's Temple. There was a seeker who traveled far and wide to find the secret of happiness. She climbed mountains to ask sages, studied dense books, and collected beautiful objects said to bring joy. She filled her pack with these treasures, scrolls of wisdom, crystals, talismans, and coins. Her pack grew so heavy she could barely walk, but she believed the weight was the price of wisdom. One evening, exhausted, she came to a simple hut at the edge of a great plain. An old woman sat outside, gazing at the horizon. The seeker, groaning under her pack, asked, "Can you tell me the secret of happiness? I have searched for years." The old woman glanced at her bulging pack, then at the vast, empty sky filling with the first stars. She said nothing. Instead, she picked up an empty wooden bowl from beside her and held it out to the seeker. Then, she pointed to a small, clear stream nearby. Puzzled, the seeker set down her heavy pack, took the bowl, and filled it from the stream. She brought it back. The old woman took the full bowl and, to the seeker's horror, poured the water onto the dry earth. She handed back the empty bowl. Again, the old woman said, pointing to the stream. This happened 3 times. Fill the bowl, bring it back, watch it be poured out. On the 4th time, frustration boiled over. "Why do you waste the water?" the seeker cried. "Why do you give me an empty bowl only to empty it again?" The old woman finally spoke, her voice like the wind over the plain. "You came to me asking for the secret of happiness, but your hands were full, your back was bent. How could I give you anything? The bowl is not for carrying water from the stream to me. It is to teach your hands the feeling of empty. Your mind is like this bowl. It is so full of things you have collected. Ideas, judgments, worries, comparisons, that the sky cannot reflect in it. Happiness is not another thing to put in the bowl. It is the clarity of the empty bowl, reflecting the vast sky. Empty your bowl. Then you will see." The seeker sat in silence as night fell. She looked at her enormous, heavy pack full of treasures. She looked at the simple, empty wooden bowl. She looked up at the infinite starry sky. For the first time, she understood. She opened her pack and began to take things out. She didn't throw them away in anger, she simply set them aside, one by one, until the pack was empty. She left them there by the hut. She picked up the empty pack. It was light. She felt her own spine straighten. She looked up. The entire cosmos was mirrored in her own clear, quiet mind. She had been looking for a star to put in her bag, when all she needed was to empty the bag to see she was already sitting in the galaxy. This is the invitation tonight. Your mind is that bowl. Your life is that sky. The habits we've discussed, attachment, judgment, overthinking, comparison, negativity, they are the things filling your bowl. They are the treasures you thought you needed. The practice is not to find better things to put in, but to gently, compassionately, empty it. To create space. For clarity. For peace. For the simple, astounding fact of being alive, here, now. As we close, I invite you to a final, gentle reflection. In the quiet of your own heart, ask, which one habit, which one stone, felt heaviest as we spoke of it? Was it the clinging, the criticizing, the churning, the measuring, or the complaining? Don't answer quickly. Let it surface. And when it does, make a silent, kind commitment to yourself. Not a grand vow to change everything tomorrow, but a small promise. This week, I will practice opening my palm around this one thing. Tomorrow, I will catch myself judging and pause to clean one speck of dust. Today, I will not voice that familiar complaint. In this moment, I will feel my feet on the ground instead of leaning to see another tree. That small commitment is the first step on the path to freedom. It is you, beginning to empty your bowl. Thank you for allowing me to be your guide on this long, quiet journey tonight. This is Monk's Temple. If this space of reflection has been a sanctuary for you, I warmly invite you to subscribe. By joining our community, you create a haven in your daily life, a place to return to when the pack feels heavy, a reminder to empty your bowl and look at the sky. Your subscription helps this temple grow, allowing us to create more of these guided journeys into peace. Share your reflections, your small commitments, or simply the feeling in your heart after this journey, in the comments below. Let us be a community of empty bowls, reflecting light for one another. Remember, the path is walked one gentle, present step at a time. You are not alone. May you find, in the emptying, a peace that is vast, clear, and unshakable. May you carry lightness. May you be free. Good night, and peaceful dreams.